She stared at the ruby like it was magic. I remember how her fingers trembled when I slipped the ring on. We were standing on the bluff overlooking Lake Coeur d'Alene, right where we had our first real talk 4 years ago. Just the two of us under a sky full of stars. I'd spent weeks designing that ring, using the ruby from her late mom's necklace. She always said that stone reminded her of home. She cried, whispered yes, like it meant everything, and kissed me like the world had stopped. That was 3 months ago. This Tuesday, I get a text out of nowhere. Hey, my friend said the proposal was kinda quiet and boring. I need a redo. Public. The zoo. Saturday. 11 a.m. I reread it 3 times before I could even process what I was looking at. Boring? I sat there with my phone in one hand and a wrench in the other. I'd been working under my truck, covered in grease, when she dropped that little bomb. She wanted a second proposal because her friends didn't like the first one. I wasn't even mad at first, I was confused. I scrolled up through our texts, looked back at the night I proposed. I can't believe you did this messages. The way she posted a pic of the ring with 3 crying emojis and 1,000 exclamation points. Now she was rewriting the whole thing because her group chat said it didn't count if nobody clapped. I walked into the kitchen, cracked a beer, and tried to breathe. She hadn't called. No conversation, no warm-up. Just a demand with a date, a time, and a location, the damn zoo. She said, everyone will happen to be there. I already knew what that meant. Her girls. Maybe her sister. Probably her phone camera accidentally set up, just in time. She wanted me on display. I replied once. You sure about this? She heart reacted. That was it. I stood by the sink, beer halfway to my lips, staring out the window like it could give me answers. The same hands that held her mom's ruby were now expected to hold a mic at the giraffe pen and pretend none of it ever happened. Saturday at the zoo. Huh? Fine. If she wanted a show, I'd give her a damn show. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat on the couch in my garage, half-dressed and greasy, with that damn text burned into my head. Boring? I kept reading it like maybe I'd missed something. But nope, that was the word she used. Boring. After everything I'd done for her. Around midnight, I pulled out the drawer where I kept all our stuff. The box of receipts, notes, screenshots, old letters. Started digging through it like a crime scene. I don't know what I was looking for exactly, but I kept finding things that pissed me off. There was the receipt from the time I paid off her Honda Civic. $4,000 I barely had. She'd just gotten laid off and promised to pay me back when things stabilized. Never saw a dime. Rent stubs with only my name on the check. She stayed in my apartment for over a year without pitching in unless I asked, and even then it was 20 here, 30 there. I found the screenshot of her texting me while I was in Houston for that job interview, the one that could have changed my career. If you take that job, don't bother calling me anymore. I'm not doing long distance. I gave up a 6-figure offer because she didn't want to be abandoned, and I ate that for her. I felt like a chump. My hands were shaking, not from anger but from the sheer weight of it all. It was like the last 4 years had been one slow bleed, and I'd finally looked down and noticed I was empty. The way she smiled when I gave her the ring, the way she cried and hugged me, it all started to feel like a scene, not a moment, like she was playing a part and I'd fallen for it. At 2 a.m., I opened her Instagram, scrolled through the photos. Me with her at brunch. Me holding her purse at the mall. Me in the background while she posed. Everything looked curated. Posed. Like I'd been a damn prop. And the caption under our engagement post? Finally got my rock ring. Not a word about the proposal. Not a word about me. By sunrise, I'd made up my mind. I was calling it off. But I didn't tell her yet. Not right away. Because she still thought a proposal was happening on Saturday. She was probably already planning the outfit, telling her friends where to stand. So I figured if she wanted public, I'd give her public. I wasn't gonna scream or humiliate her for sport. That's not me. But I was done protecting the image. Done pretending things were fine just because she was pretty and smiled big for the camera. I wanted it to be calm, clear, and impossible to twist. I started pulling screenshots, messages, Venmo logs, even voice notes she left while drunk, calling me safe and dependable, but not someone she saw herself with forever. Then I wrote something. Took me a couple hours to get the words right. Post, not a rant, not some bitter dude whining online. Just the truth. I titled it, Why I'm Returning My Ticket to the Marissa Show. I figured I'd post it after, but I let it sit for a bit. Started getting reactions right away. 10 likes, then 50, then 100. A few people DM'd me asking if it was real. I didn't respond, just watched the numbers grow. I knew she had no clue what was coming. Thursday night, she sent me a picture of a giraffe plushie with heart eyes and wrote, "Ready for the big moment, face blowing, a kiss, love you." I stared at that message so long my screen dimmed. I'd made up my mind, but now the switch flipped. This wasn't just about breaking up. It was about ending the act. For good. I closed the message, plugged in my phone, walked out back and just stood in the dark for a while, breathing deep. The air felt colder than it should have. 2 more days. Let's give her the crowd she wanted. Saturday hit like a punch. Marissa showed up looking like a fashion ad. Hair curled, dress tight, heels clicking like she was walking a damn runway. She had on a sash that said "Future Mrs." in gold glitter. I swear. She even had fake lashes on, the kind that flutter when girls fake cry. She bounced over to me at the zoo gate like nothing was off. "Ready for the magic moment?" she said, looping her arm through mine. I just nodded. Let her drag me toward the giraffe exhibit like a puppet on a leash. Her little crew was already there. 5 of them, each holding iced coffees and pretending to look surprised. One of them waved a phone around like it was totally spontaneous. Another one mouthed, "This is gonna go viral." It was 10:59 a.m. I scanned the area, parents wrangling kids, a few teens, some zoo staff nearby. I spotted the raised platform by the splash pad. Probably meant for birthday parties or announcements. I walked straight over, climbed up, and looked out across the crowd. Marissa gasped, clapped her hands over her mouth like she'd already won. Her friends all squealed in sync. "OHHH, my God." One yelled. Cameras were already rolling. I pulled the mic from the post. It was hot, loud, perfect. "Hi, everyone," I said, voice steady. "Sorry to interrupt. I just need a minute." Heads turned. Marissa's eyes were locked on me, already misty. "I was supposed to propose today," I said. That's what she wanted. She said the first one I did wasn't enough. Too quiet. Too boring. A weird silence spread. Marissa gave a little nervous laugh. I kept going. Calm. Straightforward. "So instead of redoing the proposal, I've decided to cancel the engagement." Gasped. From strangers. From her friends. Someone dropped their drink. Marissa's hands fell from her face. "Wait, what?" I ignored her and pulled my phone out of my pocket. "I've written a statement," I said. "It's already live online. It's called Why I'm Returning My Ticket to the Marissa Show." Last I checked, it had about 11,000 likes. Someone in the crowd muttered, "Damn." I opened the post and started reading. For 4 years, I've been in a relationship where appearances mattered more than reality. Where I gave, and she took without hesitation. Marissa shouted, "Are you serious right now? What is this?" I raised a hand. "You'll get your turn." Then I kept reading. I paid off her car, covered rent, canceled a major job offer. All to keep someone happy who, in private, called me plain and safe. Her words, not mine. She said I wasn't long-term material, just a good placeholder. Her face twisted, like she couldn't decide whether to cry or explode. "You're humiliating me," she snapped. I didn't flinch. "No, I'm just finally being honest." I turned to the crowd. This is what happens when you choose someone for optics. When love becomes a performance. I proposed quietly, privately, with her mother's Ruby. She said yes. But 3 months later, she asked for a redo because it didn't get enough attention. Her friends looked around, clearly realizing they were part of a mess, not a fairy tale. One of them lowered her phone. "Maybe some of you think this is harsh," I added, "but I'd rather deal with 15 minutes of awkwardness than a lifetime of regret." I looked right at Marissa. This isn't about revenge. It's about respect. And I'm done handing mine out for free. A woman in the back clapped once. Then another. Someone cheered. Not loud, but enough. Marissa stood frozen, mouth open, red in the face. I stepped off the platform, walked right past her and said, "You wanted public, so here it is." She reached out to grab my arm. "Wait!" Pulled away, calm, still not raising my voice. "You'll get your ring back, minus the ruby. That's being returned to your dad's safe. It's the only real thing in this whole damn show." I walked out the zoo gates alone. Behind me, I heard one of her friends say, "Girl, what the hell did you do?" She grabbed my arm hard, nails dug in. "You don't get to do this. You don't get to ruin me like this." I shook her off and kept walking, calm, focused, eyes forward. Phones were out everywhere. The crowd had doubled since I stepped on that splash pad platform. Some people were whispering, others filming openly. I caught a dad whisper "holy crap" to his kid. Marissa stormed after me in heels, red-faced and rattled. "You're twisting things," she shouted. "This is emotional abuse." I turned around once. Not for drama, but because I wanted to say it clearly. "Abuse," I said. "You lived in my apartment rent-free. I paid your car note. You said I wasn't long-term material, but kept cashing my support like I was a damn sponsor." Gasped. Her friends froze behind her, still clumped by the giraffe pen like this was some reality TV ambush. "You told your cousin I was plain but reliable. Said I'd never leave because I had no options." I pulled a folded screenshot from my back pocket. "I've got the messages, Marissa. You said you were coasting till something better came along. That's your exact wording." "Stop!" she yelled. "You're making it worse." I ignored her, reached into my jacket and pulled out the fake ring box. Held it up. "The ruby's gone," I said. "It's already at your dad's place." I replaced it with a red jelly bean. I opened the box and tilted it for the crowd. Some people actually laughed. A few clapped again. One guy whistled like it was a halftime show. "Maybe that's cruel," I added, "but at least it's honest." She rushed toward me again. "You don't get to humiliate me just because you're insecure." "I'm not humiliated," I said, stepping back. "You are. And it's not because of me. It's because you spent 4 years pretending to love a guy you thought was beneath you. And now the lights are on." Someone said, "Sheesh," under their breath. A phone camera swung closer. "I gave everything," I said louder, to the whole crowd now. "Time, money, energy, chances. She gave nothing but expectations and judgment. If that's not what love is supposed to look like, then I'm not the one who should be embarrassed." I turned around. And this time I didn't stop. Marissa kept yelling. Some half-sob, half-rage spiral. "You'll regret this. You think people are going to cheer for you humiliating a woman?" I didn't say a word. Just walked. I heard a splash behind me. One of her friends stepping into the water trying to follow. A voice shouted, "Marissa, stop!" Then nothing but footsteps and a phone vibrating in my pocket. I made it to the parking lot, got in my truck, and sat for a second, just breathing, watching people shuffle in and out of the zoo like nothing had happened. I pulled out my phone. Notifications were going nuts. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Someone had already posted the video with the caption, "Guy cancels engagement during proposal and comes with receipts." I hit refresh. 82,000 views. And climbing. I didn't smile. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt done. Not empty. Not bitter. Just done. Marissa's name was already trending by 4 p.m. clips of her yelling, screenshots of her DMs. Someone even reposted her Instagram caption with side-by-side shots of the ruby ring and the jelly bean box. There was no taking it back now. And honestly, that was the point. Sunday morning, my phone looked like it had a seizure. 40+ missed calls. All from one name. Linda. Marissa's mom. I didn't answer the first 10, but on the 11th try, I picked up. She didn't even say hello. "You monster. How dare you humiliate my daughter like that?" Her voice cracked halfway between fury and panic. "You think you're some kind of hero?" I leaned back on the couch, rubbing my temples. Linda, I didn't humiliate her. I told the truth. She asked for public. She got public. You ruined her life, she screamed. Everyone's calling. Everyone saw that stupid video. She can't even go to the grocery store. Maybe she should have thought of that before turning an engagement into a PR stunt. I said, look, I don't want to fight. I just want this over with. You owe her the ring, she snapped. That ruby was her mother's. Family property. Give it back. I took a breath. The ruby's already in your husband's safe. The setting stays with me. You're keeping the setting? She said, voice sharp enough to cut glass. That's disgusting. It's a piece of metal I paid for. The stone's the only family part. You've got it. We're done. You'll regret this, she hissed, then hung up. I dropped the phone on the table and stared at it. The thing buzzed again 30 seconds later, voicemail. Then another. Then another. By noon, I had 15 new ones, all identical. Linda crying, Linda raging, Linda bargaining. By evening, the comments online had multiplied like roaches. The video had passed 1 million views. People were arguing in threads, debating whether I was brutal or legendary. Memes were already popping up, screenshots of the jellybean box, edited like a movie poster. Monday morning, I got a call from an unknown number. I should have let it ring, but curiosity got me. Hello. Hey there, son. This is Frank, the voice said. Marissa's uncle, the councilman, thought we could have a civilized conversation. I laughed under my breath. About what? Damage control. I'd call it mediation, he said smoothly. You've made your point, and frankly, it's viral enough. But we'd all appreciate if you issued a small public apology. Nothing major, just to cool things down. Not happening, I said flatly. Your niece torched her own image. I just lit the exit. He sighed. Listen, I'm trying to be fair here. People respect me in this town. Let's not make it uglier. Then tell your family to stop calling, I said, and hung up. By lunchtime, Marissa had taken it to Facebook. Her post started with, when privacy becomes a weapon, everyone loses. She called me a manipulator, said I'd staged a public ambush to destroy her reputation, attached a photo of her crying in the zoo parking lot, mascara streaked like war paint. For about an hour, the comments leaned in her favor. Her friends from college wrote, "Stay strong, queen," and "You don't deserve this." But then strangers started chiming in, people who'd seen the original video. They brought screenshots, quotes, timestamps. One wrote, "Weaponized privacy? You asked for a public redo." By mid-afternoon, the tone flipped. Her defenders vanished. The comment count tripled, and every new one called her out for gaslighting. That night, she deleted the post. But the internet doesn't delete. Screenshots were everywhere. Threads, TikToks, reaction videos, all roasting her PR meltdown. I just sat there in silence, watching it all spread. I didn't feel proud, just certain. This wasn't chaos anymore. It was consequence. Tuesday morning, I was halfway through my second cup of coffee at work when my manager pinged me. HR wants to see you. Now. My stomach dropped. Not panic, just that cold irritation. Like I already knew what this was about. The HR office was quiet. Too quiet. Michelle, the HR lead, gave me that fake friendly nod and gestured toward the chair. Hey, so, bit of an awkward situation, she started, folding her hands. We received a formal complaint from someone named Marissa, ex-fiancée. I cut in. Loudly ex. She cleared her throat. She claims you created a toxic emotional connection tied to work by proposing in private first, and then ending things publicly in a retaliatory manner. Since you two met through mutual business contacts, she's arguing the lines were blurred. I stared at her for a second. So, proposing in private is now workplace misconduct? Michelle held up a hand. Look, we saw the video. We're not idiots. This isn't an HR violation. We're just documenting it for legal coverage. That's all. Anything I need to sign? Nope, she said, already moving on. Just keep things off company email and don't interact with her if she tries to bring it into work channels. and maybe lay low for a week or two. Got it. I stood up. Guess she's trying every angle now. Michelle gave me a flat smile. She's not the first. By the time I got home that night, I was just starting to relax. I kicked off my boots, cracked a beer, put my phone on the charger. That lasted maybe 10 minutes. Then came the banging on my front door. Not a knock. Full-blown pounding like someone was trying to bust it in. I looked out the peephole and saw four people. Marissa, her cousin Joel. Two of their friends I recognized from birthday parties and fake Instagram smiles. I opened the window instead of the door. What the hell do you want? Marissa stepped forward, all fake calm rage. You owe me, you selfish piece of trash. I don't owe you anything. We're done. You wasted 4 years of my life, she yelled. 4 years. And you think a little viral video makes it okay? Joel chimed in, puffed up like some low-budget bodyguard. We can settle this, man. You can still make this right. I laughed once. You think I'm afraid of you? Joel stepped closer to the porch. You think you can just humiliate her and walk away? Yup, I said. Watch me. That set her off. Marissa stormed down the steps and started pacing in front of the driveway. I gave you the best years of my life. I could have been married to someone else by now. You still can, I said. Go nuts. I told them they had 30 seconds to leave before I called the cops. They stayed, so I called. 10 minutes later, sirens pulled up and lights lit the street. That's when things got even dumber. Marissa, in some kind of last-ditch tantrum, marched over to the truck in the next driveway. Not my truck, but close enough, and dragged her keys across the side door. Loud, slow, deliberate, metal on metal. Are you serious? I yelled. That's not even mine, you psycho. The neighbor came out mid-scratch. His face said it all. Cops separated everyone. Marissa was still yelling as they cuffed her. Joel got a warning. The other two bolted. I gave my statement and went back inside without another word. Later, I saw the neighbor shaking his head while taking pictures of the damage. I walked over, told him I'd help cover the repair, even though it wasn't on me. He just nodded. Man, what the hell kind of ex is that? I didn't have an answer. Just said, the kind that thinks you still owe her after she burns down your life. She spent the night in holding. Joel got off with a warning, probably because he didn't lay hands on anything. Marissa, though, vandalism charge, full booking, mugshot and all. And she posted it. From the damn police station, no less. Full beat face, pouty lips, hair fluffed like it was glamour shot day. Caption, punished for asking for romance. This is what happens when you want more than bare minimum love. The internet ate her alive. Comments came in hot and fast. Girl, you keyed a stranger's truck. How is this about romance? We saw the zoo video, sit down. By the next day, the post had over 70,000 comments, and most of them were brutal. Someone even edited her mugshot onto the Titanic poster with the tagline. She asked for a proposal, got a police escort. I should have just ignored her after that. But of course, she wasn't done. 3 days later, she launched a blog, called it Unbroken Bride. A mix of fake deep quotes and diary-style entries about how I controlled the narrative and weaponized privacy to create emotional trauma. She even had a photo of us from a year ago, cropped so only half my face showed. The whole thing was trying to frame her as some wounded heroine who just wanted flowers and attention. Then came the book, or what she called a book. It was a pre-order link to something titled, Owned, My 4 Years Under Financial Surveillance. She claimed I used my income to control her lifestyle, that I paid her loans as a way to dominate her choices and make her dependent. She threw in buzzwords like economic abuse, covert control, and manipulative stability. I scrolled through the preview. It was nothing but twisted versions of our past. She wrote that I interrogated her spending habits. What she meant was I asked why she dropped $200 on fake eyelashes while we were behind on rent. She said I made her feel watched. Nah, I just asked her to contribute once to groceries after 8 months of freeloading. It was laughable. But the craziest part? She had fake testimonials at the end. This book changed my life. SL. Heard and validated for the first time. BH. I reverse-searched the names. Stock initials. The photos? Pulled from Shutterstock. Even the ISBN number? Fake. Copy-pasted from a listing for a travel guide from 2014. I didn't even have to say a word. The internet jumped on it fast. Reddit sleuths dissected every chapter. TikTokers made side-by-side breakdowns. There were entire YouTube videos titled Exposed, the truth behind Owned. One thread posted a screenshot of her Venmo history, all my payments, all the rent I covered, and her occasional heart emoji in the captions. It was game over. She tried to double down by posting a teary voice memo claiming victim silence is real, but it barely hit 10K views before it got ratioed. Every attempt she made to spin the story just made it worse. The more she reached, the more she slipped. I stayed quiet. I didn't need to defend myself anymore. Her own words, her own stunts, they were doing the job for me. At that point, it wasn't damage control. It was her career path. The hustle had officially begun. Just when I thought she'd run out of ways to spin it, she dropped the seminar. Break Free, a live empowerment experience, $299 per ticket, no refunds. The tagline? From manipulated to unstoppable. Learn to escape silent abuse. She used a photo from the zoo but edited it, cropped herself to look like she was crying alone, and darkened the lighting so it looked like a storm was coming in. Me? She blurred my face and stretched my arm out like I was pointing at her, about to yell. I hadn't even been facing her in that moment, but that didn't matter. Truth had never been her strong suit. There were 10 Instagram reels promoting it, all with dramatic piano music and slow zoom-ins of her face while she said stuff like, I thought love meant sacrifice. Turns out it meant silence. She even changed her display name to Marissa Grace. Her middle name's Nicole. When I saw the promo site, I sat back in my chair, jaw locked. It wasn't shock anymore. It was that cold realization that she was still trying, still clawing for control. That afternoon, I called my buddy Nolan. He's a lawyer. I sent him the screenshots, the edited images, the seminar links. He said, this is defamation wrapped in a pyramid scheme. We had a cease and desist drafted and sent by morning. Legal notice, attached with examples of image manipulation, profit intent, and defamation. The whole thing was airtight. 3 days later, the site was pulled. Her Instagram went quiet. But then came the final insult. Her dad called me. I hadn't spoken to that man in over a year. He'd never even said thank you when I returned the ruby. So when I saw Michael Sullivan on my screen, I let it go to voicemail. He called back 2 more times. The third time I answered. Hello, son, he said, smooth and cold like a guy who'd rehearsed it. I think it's time we settle this thing down. I didn't say anything, just waited. I've got a proposal for you, 60,000. You get re-engaged quietly. No more social media stunts. We do a small event with the right press, maybe even work in a donation angle. Everyone wins. I stared at the wall for a second. You're offering me 60 grand to pretend I'm marrying your daughter again? She's in a rough spot, he said. And I've got clients who are watching all this. We already told some people there was going to be a wedding. These things reflect on the family, on the brand. I let out a short laugh. You're not even hiding it. I'm being practical, he said. You got your moment. Now let us clean this up. She promised you a society wedding, didn't she? I asked. Said she could turn the whole thing into a PR boost for your little empire? Silence. Then, she may have overpromised. But she's young. She's manipulative, I said. Just like the man who raised her. He stiffened. You don't want to burn bridges like this. Trust me. They're already ashes, I said. You think I'd trade my self-respect for 60 grand and a second round of hell? Go screw yourself. I hung up before he could finish. I stood in my kitchen for a while after that. Let the silence sit. No texts, no emails. Just that bitter stillness of knowing the mask had fully slipped off, and not just hers. This wasn't about a breakup anymore. This was about people who'd spent their lives curating a fantasy, and finally got caught in the mirror. A week after her dad tried to buy me off, I got a DM from someone I never expected. Leah, one of Marissa's bridesmaids. The tall brunette who'd been grinning at the zoo like it was prom night. Can we talk? Just coffee. No drama. I promise. I ignored it for a day, then finally agreed. We met at a cafe in Spokane, neutral spot. She showed up in sunglasses like she was hiding from TMZ, sat down without saying hi, and ordered black coffee. Why are we here? I asked, arms crossed. She took a deep breath. Because I feel gross. And I can't sleep. I said nothing. Let her keep going. We encouraged her, she admitted. The zoo thing, the new ring, all of it. We told her the first proposal wasn't enough. Said it didn't feel like a win. But that was jealousy talking. I raised an eyebrow. Jealous of what? Leah looked down at her cup. Because yours was actually sweet, private, real. And none of us had that. We pushed her to make it a spectacle. I leaned back in my chair, silent. She wasn't wrong, but I wasn't about to give her sympathy. Then she dropped the real bomb. Marissa never planned to stay married. That's why I'm here. Her voice was flat. She called it her retirement plan. 1 year max divorce with alimony, maybe a settlement house, plus the public sympathy. Said you were a stability guy. The kind judges respect in court. I stared at her hard. And you were all in on that? No, she said quickly. Not at first. But when she told her dad, he didn't even blink. He said, and I quote, just make sure it's clean. Like it was a business deal. That actually stunned me. Not because it was surprising, but because it lined up too perfectly. She practiced fake crying in the mirror, Leah added. Said she'd go for full breakdown if it helped. The plan was to build her brand off the divorce. Maybe do a docuseries later. She had a whole notebook of post-marriage content ideas. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable. Then Leah slid a slip of paper across the table. That's the guy she's targeting now. Tech recruiter in Seattle. Big salary. Low self-esteem. You serious? I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, she said. You got lucky, honestly. You got out. I took the paper, nodded once, and left without saying goodbye. That night, I found the guy online. Public Instagram, not too sharp with privacy. Name was Dylan. I sent one message, not trying to be weird, just a heads up. If you're talking to someone named Marissa Sullivan, be careful. I can show you why. Attached the zoo video, a couple screenshots, and the link to the fake book. 10 minutes later, he replied, WTF. Thanks, man. Blocked. That was it. She didn't even know she'd been cut off before she could start. And for once, that felt like enough. 3 days later, my sister sent me a screenshot. Some random burner account had slid into her DMs saying, you should be worried. Your brother's unstable. He needs help. The username was a mess of numbers, no profile picture. But the writing style, the dramatic pauses, the guilt-tipped phrasing, it was classic Marissa. That was it for me. I called my lawyer again and filed for a restraining order. Gave them everything, the burner messages, the police report, the seminar ad, even her father's pathetic buyout attempt. Judge took one look and granted it without hesitation. She was officially blocked from every angle. Right around then, word started getting out about her dad's business. Clients were backing out, sponsors dropping. Some news site posted a piece. When reputation meets reality, the downfall of a local power family. Apparently, some of his biggest accounts didn't want to be associated with that zoo girl. Then I ran into Kevin, her cousin, at a gas station near Hayden. He gave me a nod, kind of embarrassed, then said, she's working at the pet store now, over on 4th. I didn't say anything, just nodded back and got in my truck. That night, I got another text, this time from an unknown number. Clearly someone else's phone. It just said, I have a degree. This is your fault. No name, but I knew. I didn't reply, didn't even screenshot it. I just deleted it and blocked the number. It was done. Now, I'm seeing someone new. Quiet girl, sharp sense of humor, no interest in clout. First time I showed her the zoo video, she blinked a few times, then laughed and said, "What the hell kind of circus were you dating?" I told her the whole story one night over drinks, no filter. She listened, didn't interrupt once. Later, I half joked, "I'm never proposing again. Maybe just City Hall, skip all the drama." She grinned and said, "Sounds boring." I raised my glass and clinked hers. "Boring sounds great."